Welcome to week 39, and we continue our discussion of the forms, continuing with the discussion on Siu Nim Tau. We left off last time at the discussion of the punching action and the Taan Sau and the retraction of the elbow, which incidentally my Sifu used to like to say is the best elbow in all the martial arts, because this is an elbow that can never miss. Because if someone's trying to grab you from behind, it's a guaranteed winner. Whereas there are all sorts of other very fancy elbow strikes, not always guaranteed to land. This one he always found was able to land every single time. So long as your opponent's trying to hold you, can't miss. It's also reminding us to chamber our hands. So anytime we're training one thing, this is switching on the other side of the body. People often get into the habit of dropping the hand that's not being used and doing everything with one hand with the other one down. The form is trying to remind us, if you keep this hand engaged, whether it's the left side or the right side, it is actually switching on the other side of the body, so it's providing balance and power to both sides of your body throughout every drill that you do. Obviously in combat, you're not going to have a hand back here. But in the forms, we often train one thing at a time. We need to put this somewhere useful. In my pocket is not very useful. Behind my back is not very useful. Hanging by my side is very unuseful at all. But putting it here, that's useful. It relaxes my shoulder. It enables me to load up my elbow so it's ready for the opposite direction of movement, and it's switching on the other side of the body. Now, let's call this the meat and potatoes of this discussion. In Siu Nim Tau, as in Chum Kill form as well, there are three very well-defined sections. We tend to describe them by a single word. Section 1 we refer to as structure section. Section 2, recovery section. Section 3, coordination section. I'll worry about the second and the third one later, obviously. Today we focus on section 1, structure. In keeping with what I started this discussion with in the first of this particular series within the series, we're not doing the forms to do applications. We're doing the forms to train ideas, concepts, structures, and habit-forming activities so that our body will start to do things instinctively under pressure situations. So what are the structures that we're trying to develop in the Siu Nim Tau form? The first one is Taan Sau. We do the Taan Sau from this unusual position of all the way back here, and we slowly make our way into the center. Obviously this is faster than we would normally practice it, but that's because the limit we have on the video, so we're going a bit faster. Once I've cleared my body, I then have enough space to tuck my elbow in. Why am I tucking my elbow in and trying to get this particular shape? Because doing Taan Sau in this way lends itself to developing a certain kind of reaction, which you would otherwise not necessarily learn to do without a lot of really hard work and unnecessary sweat and tears. This is doing it in a very gentle, natural, and almost in the background way, so you don't have to worry about it. It's happening for you all the time. If I invite Wei Teng to come in and help me, what we're really learning to do here is to get the arm in a position where it will naturally develop Lat Sau Jiek Tong, or the springy energy. If I press on his arm and he tries to hold that shape, it tends to want to come this way. Whereas if he's got his elbow out of the center and I press down on it, it will tend to go mostly up. Especially if he resists upwards, it will fly upwards. But if you tuck the arm in, even if he resists upwards, it still has a habit of coming forwards. So the first thing we're trying to learn with this Taan Sau is to develop the ability for the hands not to resist outwards or upwards, but to have a springiness that comes forwards. What's this got to do with combat? Initially, not a lot, but you're not going to use Taan Sau like this and come out in slow motion. What we're first learning is what is the structure of Taan Sau, so that if he learns to hold the shape in the right way, it will always push my energy away from the center and encourage his energy to come forward. Probably a good time to stop, because there's a lot more we could say about not only that, but also the techniques that follow. So let's continue in the next episode. See you then.